What we've got here is a failure to communicate between generations. Family Ties wasn't just a sitcom about a suburban household. It was a cultural battlefield where conservative parents clashed with a Reagan-era son in a sweater vest. Behind the laugh track, chaos brewed, casting fights, near cancellations, political backlash, and even on-set injuries. The show that looked so wholesome on Thursday nights was often a war zone on the soundstage. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal 20 weird facts about Family Ties. From casting disasters to studio interference, from political pressure to near tragedies. And wait until you hear the bonus fact. A secret involving the show's most famous face that could have changed TV history forever. Let's dive in. Michael J. Fox wasn't the first pick. Producers didn't want Michael J. Fox. That sounds insane now, but it's true. When the pilot was casting, executives thought Fox looked too small, too boyish, and not leading man material. NBC President Brandon Tartikoff famously said, "This kid will never have lunch in this town again." They wanted a taller, more all-American type to play Alex P. Keaton. But Gary David Goldberg, the creator, fought hard. He saw something in Fox's timing, his mix of vulnerability and cockiness. That stubborn gamble paid off. By season 2, Fox wasn't just the star of the show, he was NBC's biggest ratings weapon. The network that almost rejected him ended up building Thursday nights around his character. A Reagan White House obsession. Here's the kicker. Family Ties didn't just mirror Reagan-era politics. The Reagans themselves loved the show. Nancy Reagan was a devoted viewer, and Ronald even invited the cast to the White House. The irony? Alex P. Keaton was originally written as satire, a cartoonish conservative meant to highlight the generation gap. But Fox's charisma flipped the script. Audiences loved Alex, not mocked him. What started as a critique of yuppie greed became an anthem for it. By season 3, fans weren't laughing at Alex's obsession with Wall Street, they were cheering him on. The White House even sent fan mail. Imagine writing satire, only to discover the very people you're skewering are applauding. The show nearly got canceled after season 1. Not every hit comes roaring out of the gate. The first season of Family Ties had shaky ratings. NBC executives debated axing it after only 22 episodes. The problem? The parents, Elise and Steven, were supposed to be the focus, but audiences weren't connecting with their storylines. Enter Michael J. Fox. The writers doubled down on Alex, giving him sharper one-liners, greedier plots, and more center stage. Ratings jumped. By season 2, the show wasn't just safe. It was a Thursday night powerhouse. Cancellation turned into domination, all because the network took a gamble on the smallest actor in the cast. Michael Gross and Meredith Baxter's age shock. You might not know this. Michael Gross, who played Stephen Keaton, was only 7 years older than Michael J. Fox. Meredith Baxter, who played Elise, was barely more than 10 years older. That's Hollywood magic for you. Casting actors who looked parental but weren't far removed in age. Gross had just come out of stage work, Baxter from family and TV movies. They were expected to anchor the show as the older generation. But in real life, the age gap was razor thin. It wasn't experience that made them convincing. It was chemistry, professionalism, and a lot of good writing. The illusion of generational distance was a performance in itself. The sitcom that saved NBC Thursdays. Before Family Ties, NBC's Thursday night lineup was a graveyard. Ratings were brutal, morale was worse, and executives were desperate for a hit. This show, with its modest suburban set and culture clash humor, flipped everything. By season 2, Family Ties wasn't just surviving, it was anchoring the night. It paved the way for juggernauts like Cheers and The Cosby Show. Without Alex P. Keaton, there might never have been a must-see TV era. What looked like a modest family sitcom ended up rewriting network history. Sometimes the smallest gamble becomes the biggest cornerstone. Meredith Baxter hid a private struggle. On screen, Meredith Baxter was the picture of confidence. Cool, level-headed Elise Keaton. But behind the camera, she was fighting private battles. During the height of the show's success, Baxter later revealed she was struggling with alcoholism. Cast and crew had no idea. She masked it with professionalism and charisma. Years later, she went public, explaining how the pressure of fame and balancing family life contributed to her drinking. She eventually found recovery, but the revelation shocked fans. It wasn't just a sitcom mom, it was a woman navigating her own demons while playing America's favorite mother. That contrast added layers of poignancy to her performance. Audiences saw stability. Baxter lived turbulence. What's extraordinary is how flawlessly she kept it hidden during the show's peak years. Michael J. Fox filmed Back to the Future at night. Here's the wildest scheduling nightmare in TV history. When Michael J. Fox got cast in Back to the Future, after Eric Stoltz was fired, NBC wouldn't release him from Family Ties. The solution? Fox worked double shifts. Days on set as Alex P. Keaton, nights filming Marty McFly. He barely slept, surviving on adrenaline and sheer willpower. Some nights he was literally driven from Paramount's sitcom set to Universal's movie lot, shooting until dawn, then back again for rehearsals. He later admitted he was living on fumes, memorizing lines in the car. Yet he delivered Emmy-winning performances in one role and cinematic magic in the other. That insane grind nearly broke him, but it also cemented his legend. Justine Bateman faced brutal media scrutiny. Mallory Keaton, Justine Bateman played the ditzy but lovable daughter, but off-screen, tabloids were relentless. She was criticized for her looks, her fashion choices, even her weight. The media painted her as a real-life Mallory, clueless and shallow, which was far from the truth. Bateman was sharp, articulate, and business-minded, but those qualities rarely made headlines. She later spoke about the toll this scrutiny took on her confidence. Imagine being a teenager, already under pressure, then facing cruel headlines week after week. Bateman survived it, but the scars were real. The show made her a star, but it also thrust her into the merciless spotlight of 1980s celebrity culture. The famous heart attack episode sparked fan panic. Season 5 gave audiences one of the show's darkest moments. Alex's close friend Greg dies suddenly from a car accident, triggering Alex's emotional breakdown. The episode My Name is Alex became legendary. It wasn't a sitcom anymore. It was raw theater. Fox performed long, unbroken monologues in front of a bare set, wrestling with grief, faith, and meaning. Viewers had never seen anything like it on network comedy. Calls poured into NBC after it aired. Some praised it as genius, others worried it was too heavy. But it proved a point. Family Ties could balance humor with searing drama. The risk was enormous, but it made television history. Michael J. Fox won 3 Emmys in a row. At its peak, Fox wasn't just popular, he was unstoppable. He won the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series 3 consecutive years, 1986, 1987, and 1988. No small feat. His wins reflected how Alex P. Keaton had transcended sitcom conventions. What was supposed to be a parody of conservatism had become a national phenomenon. Fox's delivery, rapid fire, sharp, always with a smirk, made the character unforgettable. Those Emmys validated what audiences already knew. The show lived or died on his shoulders. The irony? The network once thought he was too small for television. Not only did he dominate the screen, he redefined what a sitcom star could be. A live studio audience that couldn't stop laughing. Every episode of Family Ties was filmed before a live studio audience, but Michael J. Fox's timing was so razor-sharp, the laughter often drowned out the following lines. Directors had to pause tapings, allowing Fox to reset after waves of applause. Sometimes scenes were reshot because the laughter was simply too long. It wasn't canned. It was genuine, visceral reaction. The crew even started warning audiences, "Save some oxygen, this guy's going to kill you." Not many sitcoms faced the problem of having too much live laughter, but Family Ties did. Fox's delivery wasn't just good, it was disruptive in the best way possible, creating delays that became legendary among cast and crew. Tina Yoder's surprising background. Jennifer Keaton, played by Tina Fanu and Yoders, was the family's youngest daughter. Unlike her TV siblings, Yothers came from a unique background. Her parents were professional ice skaters, and she had been performing since age 3. By the time she landed Family Ties, she was a seasoned pro despite being only 10. But Yothers wasn't content with just acting. She later fronted a rock band called Jaded. Fans who only knew her as the sarcastic little sister were shocked to discover her as a gritty, loud-voiced musician. That duality, sweet sitcom daughter by day, rocker by night, wasn't common for TV stars of the 80s. She wasn't just growing up on screen, she was carving out a separate, rebellious identity. Guest stars became Hollywood giants. What audiences didn't realize, Family Ties was a launch pad for future stars. Courtney Cox played Lauren, Alex's girlfriend, long before Friends. Tom Hanks appeared as Elise's alcoholic brother in a performance that foreshadowed his dramatic chops. Even Gina Davis had a role before she broke into film. The show became a testing ground for young actors, giving them exposure to millions. Looking back, the guest star list reads like a who's who of future A-listers. Each cameo added texture, but it also gave casting directors a glimpse of raw talent waiting to explode. Family Ties wasn't just raising its own stars, it was incubating the next generation of Hollywood legends. Political pressure on scripts. The show's political tension wasn't just fictional, it sparked real-world backlash. Some conservative groups accused Family Ties of mocking their values, while liberal critics argued it normalized greed. Writers found themselves under pressure from both sides. One week, they were told to tone down Alex's conservatism. The next, they were accused of going too easy on him. Gary David Goldberg and his team walked a tightrope, trying to keep the show funny while reflecting America's cultural battles. That pressure wasn't just external. Even NBC executives worried about alienating advertisers. Each script became a political negotiation. Not many sitcoms had senators and White House staffers tuning in to see how their ideology was portrayed on prime time. The show's finale drew over 36 million viewers. When Family Ties ended in 1989, it went out with a cultural bang. The finale, Alex Doesn't Live Here Anymore, drew over 36 million viewers, a massive number even for the pre-streaming era. Fans tuned in to see Alex leave home for New York, chasing his Wall Street dreams. The goodbye was emotional, raw, and strangely real. Michael J. Fox broke character at moments, hugging castmates with genuine tears. It wasn't just the end of a show, it was the end of an era. Thursday nights would never look the same. That finale cemented Family Ties, not as just another sitcom, but as one of the defining cultural texts of the 1980s. Michael Gross and Meredith Baxter's radical prep. Unlike many sitcom stars, Michael Gross and Meredith Baxter approached Family Ties like stage actors. They rehearsed every scene with the precision of theater veterans. Gross even kept detailed journals of his characters' motivations, treating Stephen Keaton as if he were Hamlet. Baxter worked tirelessly on Elise's rhythm and delivery, making her warmth feel natural instead of scripted. This dedication elevated the show beyond laugh-track comedy. Their performances grounded the chaos of Alex's wild schemes, anchoring the family dynamic in realism. Without their theatrical discipline, the show could have slipped into slapstick. Instead, it maintained balance, an earnest core beneath the punchlines. Audiences never saw the rehearsal rooms, but they felt the depth every Thursday night. Mallory was originally written as serious. Here's a twist. Mallory Keaton wasn't supposed to be the ditzy character. Early scripts painted her as a sharp, serious intellectual, more like her parents than Alex. But Justine Bateman's audition changed everything. Her comedic timing, especially when playing oblivious, was too good to ignore. Writers rewrote Mallory's character to emphasize that contrast. A fashionable, distracted teen opposite Alex's focused ambition. The irony? Critics accused the show of stereotyping women as shallow. Yet Bateman's charm made Mallory beloved, turning what could have been a one-note joke into one of TV's most enduring sibling characters. Not smart versus dumb, but idealist versus opportunist. That evolution was pure TV alchemy, created on the fly. the Tom Hanks punch scene. Shocked everyone. Tom Hanks's guest role as Uncle Ned remains infamous. In one powerful scene, drunk and desperate, he accidentally punches Alex in the face. What fans didn't know, the punch almost connected for real. Fox leaned too close during rehearsal, and Hanks's swing brushed him hard enough to make the audience gasp. For a split second, taping halted. Crew scrambling, Fox shaken. But the accident gave the scene raw intensity. Producers kept the take, amplifying the realism of Uncle Ned's addiction spiral. Audiences saw gripping drama. The cast remembered near injury. That moment showed just how far Family Ties could stretch, pushing sitcom boundaries into dangerous emotional territory. A script nearly got pulled for being too dark. The writers once submitted a script where Keaton considers quitting his job after a nervous breakdown. NBC execs balked. Too heavy, they warned. Sitcom dads weren't supposed to struggle with mental health. Gary David Goldberg fought to keep the script, but compromises were made. The final version softened Steven's crisis into workplace stress. Still, the undertone of burnout slipped through. Audiences laughed at the surface jokes, but caught glimpses of deeper pain. That tension, between network polish and real-world struggle, defined Family Ties. It wasn't just about Alex's greed or Mallory's shopping. It was about how families survive the pressures of life. Even when the studio said no, the writers found ways to say yes. The famous couch was almost replaced. Believe it or not, the Keaton family's iconic floral couch was nearly swapped out after season 2. Executives argued it looked too old-fashioned, clashing with NBC's push for a slicker image. But the cast revolted. Michael Gross insisted the couch was practically a character. Its worn patterns symbolized middle-class comfort. Meredith Baxter agreed, saying it grounded the set in authenticity. The producers sided with the actors, and the couch stayed. Over time, it became one of the most recognizable set pieces in sitcom history. Fans even wrote letters asking where they could buy one. Not glamorous, not modern, but familiar, and that's why it mattered. The couch wasn't just furniture, it was the heartbeat of the Keaton home. The show almost starred Matthew Broderick. Before Michael J. Fox, another young actor was the top choice for Alex P. Keaton, Matthew Broderick. The network loved his charm and timing, but Broderick turned it down, preferring Broadway work. Imagine that sliding door moment. No Michael J. Fox, no Emmy streak, no Alex P. Keaton as we know him. Without Family Ties, Fox may never have been cast in Back to the Future. The entire trajectory of 80s pop culture could have shifted. Broderick's choice opened the door for Fox, who not only defined a character, but also an era. The bonus irony? Both actors went on to become icons of 1980s youth culture, just on very different stages. Family Ties began as a simple sitcom about parents and kids, but transformed into a mirror of America itself. It juggled politics, grief, laughter, and love, all from a modest suburban living room. Behind the scenes, it was battles, near misses, and moments of brilliance that almost never happened. In the end, it wasn't just a TV show, it was the pulse of the 80s. If you loved uncovering these hidden truths, hit like, smash that subscribe, and tell us in the comments which Family Ties fact shocked you the most.